Hello, Mr. Lerman. Cliff Atkins. How are you? Good, sir. It's good to see you. That's a pretty sharp shirt you got on there, man. I like it. Oh, I talked to you about that Broadfield Road. Yeah. That's me. The deal.
I don't have any issues with it. I've spoken to some of the others, they don't have issues with it.
Yeah, I think we're going to sail through. I like to be here. Yes, sir. I need a place to go. Keep them out of trouble.
Yes, sir.
I know.
To look at us out there too.
Okay.
Don't forget about
I won't forget you.
not living in the South Side. Keep over South Side, so never ran that and I want some things like that.
Hey, you know, I got something going out there. What do you? Well, you know, Govan Development had a building out there on Leopard Street. It was the old. Well, my sign's going up on it. 17,000 square feet of air conditioned building. It's full of office. You know, he's got cubicles.
I live right down the street.
Well, I'm scratching around. I'm going to the county, the school district, the hospital district, anybody, the refineries, because it's a great building. It's in great shape.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Govan has pretty much shut down the business. He's got a little tenant in there that bought up, you know, his business, Kent, and they're moving out at the end of September. So anyway, if you got any ideas or any thoughts,
You need help.
I'm going to go to the.
You need help with the school district, the TM school district. I
know.
served 25 years on that school board. I know the superintendent, Steve Van Matrix, very well.
Well, I may, yeah, maybe go have lunch or something.
Yes, sir.
And
Give me a
do
buzz.
Okay,
And
I'll do that.
Picture you and see how I think so. Look, we need a lot more business on Leopard. Leopard needs to be redeveloped. I need help on Leopard being redeveloped. Leopard needs to be a concrete street because it's an industrial street. It's asphalt stuff. It's got some patch it up and within a year it's gone because 18-wheelers are driving all up and down it. That's all there is there. It's an industrial area. All the way around there. You know, we need to fix it right.
And all those little streets from Leopard over to I-35, 37. You know, I feel so sorry for those people who live on those streets because big trucks go up and down there. There's two-lane streets, a lot of them.
We're trying to change that.
The truck route.
South Texas streets.
Yeah.
We're trying to change those trucks to go down Clockwood Road because there's no residential
Right.
streets in Clockwood.
Exactly.
Just go one street down and then make your right, then make your right on left. No, they want to still keep going down the middle of the residentials are at dumping stuff all over and it stinks and then the city has to go and clean it up. It's costing too much money.
I know. I don't know how they do it because, you know, on Ocean Drive, you're not allowed to put a big construction truck unless you're going to a job or back.
Right.
I don't know how you stop it though. Okay. Absolutely. You know, if we meet the school superintendent, I can take them on a tour of the building. Just walk, not a big tour. I mean, we just walk through, take a look at it, so they know what it looks like.
Yes, sir.
We've got all that stuff. It could be a great training facility or whatever.
All I just let you know too that
Yes, sir. I know that.
I just picked them up back today.
I'm on the government affairs with the realtor board. You're going to come see us, aren't you?
I didn't get it last time.
Come on, don't give up.
Treasurer called me and I couldn't believe this meeting.
Come back and see us.
Yeah, I'll be making
I mean, I'm on the committee for that. Me and my partner, Wayne.
I've talked to him several times. He's given me permission to put my signs on his property, so I'm hoping I can do it again this time.
Hello, Commissioner. How are we doing today? Can't complain, can't complain. Hello.
Hi, Cliff Atkins.
Alan Morgan.
Alan Morgan?
Well, I would say the one and only, but I'm a junior, so
There must be a senior around here somewhere.
somewhere.
We'll chat.
Yeah, we'll chat. We'll go to lunch. Okay.
Where do you want these?
Right here, we can go.
Okay.
Good to see you too.
Okay, it is 5:30, so we'll go ahead and convene the Wednesday, August 7th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Ms. Ruth, would you please call roll?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Miller,
Here.
Vice Chairman York,
Here.
Commissioner Mendel is absent, Commissioner Salazar Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Munoz is absent, Commissioner Matagi is no longer on the board, Commissioner Lerma,
Here.
Commissioner Hedrick,
Here?
Commissioner Budd.
Here.
We have a quorum to conduct the meeting.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, discussion and possible action, election of chairman and vice chairman. I will open up the nominations. Does anybody have anybody that they would like to nominate for vice chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Cynthia Garza Salazar for the VP chair.
Okay, Commissioner Salazar Garza. Anybody else? Seeing none, I guess we can go ahead and move on to the nomination of the chairman. And I wanted to make some comments. It's been one of my greatest honors being the chairman of the Planning Commission, but I've decided that I am not seeking the chairmanship moving forward, and I'd much prefer being in one of the side seats. I don't like being here front and center. So with that, I would like to nominate Michael York. Michael's been a great vice chairman and a great planning commissioner, and we came on pretty much at the exact same time. And are there any other nominations?
I'll nominate, this is for chairman though, right?
Yes. Did you have a nomination for vice chairman?
Yes. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Brian Mandel.
Oh, Brian Mandel. Okay. So I guess we need to do these, vote on these individually.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is a motion on the floor for Commissioner Salazar Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. All right. With that, Commissioner Salazar Garza is now appointed as the vice chairman. And as for the motion on the floor, or can I get a motion to, or I guess I'll call a motion for the appointment of Vice Chairman York to the chairmanship? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Now we shuffle.
I don't do it.
I guess you.
You really wanted to get over in one of those seats, huh? You want to go over there and
I'm going to take.
then hop to council like he did?
Yeah. It's all yours.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. Won't wasting any time, let's go ahead and move on. Approval of absences for Commissioner Lerma.
I make a motion that we approve absence for Commissioner Lerma.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to approval of...
Chairman, we need to do the public comment.
Oh.
Oh, you're right. Would you mind reading the rules of decorum?
Thank you. Citizens will be allowed to attend and make public comments in person at City Planning Commission meetings. The public is invited to speak on any agenda item and any other items that pertain to the Planning Commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If you choose to speak during this period, you will not be allowed to speak again when this specific item is being considered in order of the agenda. And if you choose to speak, I have a sign-in sheet for your name and address. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, go ahead and open up the general public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close the general public comment, and now we'll move on to the approval of minutes for July 24th meeting. I have comments or a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And moving on to consent public hearing, items A, B, and C.
Good evening, Commissioners. Mark Orozco, planner with Development Services. Going to be reading into record consent items A, B, and C. Starting off with plats. Item number 2, this is the conditional approval for Caroline Heights, Units 2 and 3. This is a preliminary plat of 18.72 acres. This is located south of FM 2444 and east of Texas Highway 286. The plat meets the Technical Review Committee comments and the Texas Local Government Code. Staff recommends approval for this item. Moving on with consent item B, zoning. Number 3, we have a rezoning for Horizon Land Properties, LLC. This is an ordinance rezoning a property at or near 601 Graham Road from the RM1 multifamily district to the RS 4.5 single family and CG2 general commercial district. Item number 4, for JAR Development, LLC. This is a rezoning at a property at or near 7868 Yorktown Boulevard from the RS 4.5 Single Family 4.5 District to the CN2 Neighborhood Commercial District. Item number 5, for Shafrinuri Morteza. This is an ordinance rezoning a property at or near 2201 Rockville Road from the ON Neighborhood Office District to the CG2 General Commercial. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning items 3, 4, and 5. Going on to consent item 6, time extensions. We have a time extension for the VS PUD. This is a final plat of 2.35 acres. This is their second request for a 12-month extension. This property is located on the northeast side of Grenada Drive and west of Leeward Drive. Staff recommends approval of a 1-year plat extension for this item. Staff can answer questions at this time.
All right, thank you. Commissioners have any questions for staff?
I had a question, sorry. I had a question on item number 5. Was it discussed with the applicant, was a special permit discussed with the applicant versus the CG2 zoning?
Sure, I can address that, Commissioner. Yes, we did at first discuss a special permit, but as there's going to be roughly a 210-foot buffer along the backside, the general commercial zoning is consistent along the Rodfield Road corridor, as that is a commercial corridor. So accounting for the large buffer plus the adjoining zoning, CG2 was recommended for approval.
And if you have CG2 zoning, let's say somebody came to Development Services with a site plan or set of construction documents and stuff like that, and you had one development and the front portion of it was 100% CG2 use, they could use the existing ON in the back for parking for that development?
Technically, yes. Theoretically, they could have the rear as parking, although on their site plan, it did not show any indications or any paths to even reach that rear of the property.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for items 2 through 6. Would anybody like to make comments on item 2 through 6? Seeing none, close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pass items 2 through 6 as presented by staff.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 7, capital improvement budget, public hearing discussion and possible action.
Good morning, Commissioners. Camille Terrace, actually the assistant director for CCW, your former capital budget manager. I'm here to present the fiscal year 25 proposed budget for the CIP. We handed out the actual physical copies to you, so I hope you enjoy the 400 pages of blood, sweat, and tears that this final year brought to me to create those. With me, I have Alan Morgan, who's actually now the new capital budget manager. He started last week, and Lois Hinojosa, the capital budget coordinator with me. Kind of wanted you to see the face that will be gracing you in the future years with many pages of new projects coming forward. So let's get this going. So let me flip to the next one. So this year's budget, we're proposing $1,008,700,000 for the CIP. As you can see, the two biggest areas are CCW, which is water and wastewater. That is basically 70% of the CIP in fiscal year 25, and we'll discuss that once we get to those sections in more detail. Followed by the streets, less utility support, so it's just the street costs, repairs. Then we have Parks and Rec and Marina, followed by stormwater, economic development, which is your projects at the Selena Arena and Convention Center, and then some of the seawall and TIF, the tax increment financing districts 2 and 3 projects, which is the downtown and North Padre Island. Following, it has gas. Then we have public facilities, which is just your regular facilities like City Hall, the projects for this area, and any other facilities we have around the town that belong to the city. And finally, the smallest program for 25 is airport with $3.4 million. So moving on, how we're financing this. So again, the biggest two sources are going to be, because the biggest two expenditure areas were utilities, you have your revenue bonds, which is $472 million, and then followed by the Texas, the SWIFT loan, which is the State Water Implementation Fund for Texas with 221, and that's for the desal project, beginning of the design, the beginning of the construction in 2025. Operating fund transfers, which is your general fund transfers, your hot funds, all the other, operating transfers that are contributing money for capital projects, your certificates of obligation, and then you have your voter-approved general obligation bonds with $51 million. Going down the list, you have your type A and B sales tax projects, which are again primarily those economic development projects, grants and other agency contributions, the last year of the American Rescue Plan Act, so this is the final money that we need to spend from the federal money that was granted to the city, and then the tax increment financing district funds from districts 2 and 3. So let's move on to airport. So in airport, as I said, it's the smallest project, $3.4 million. We had the large project, which was the redevelopment of the terminal, which is happening right now, but what's remaining for next year is the airport drainage study, which is a required study for by the FAA, the beginning of the work for the International Drive and the curbside upgrades at the airport, and the TSA baggage screening area upgrades. Primary funding sources, again, it's always in airport is going to be the FAA grant, and then some of the airport reserves as a matching to the grant. Moving on, the second group is economic development. That's $34.9 million. As I mentioned, the biggest grouping of projects here are the Arena Convention Center, Selena Auditorium Rehabilitation and Upgrades. We have 19 projects in total in that area. We have North Padre Island seawall improvements. There are some paper streets that we are starting to design to bring online, to bring connectivity in that area. And then bridge improvements for around the, I believe it's Gypsy Bridge and White Cap Bridge for the scouring. improvements. Seawall improvements here, our downtown seawall, and then we added projects for this year for the Art Museum, Harbor Playhouse, and the Museum of Science History for their HVAC replacement. As we're taking them off of that connected system with the convention center, we have to put individual units to those 3 buildings. So the primary funding here is the hot tax, the tax increment financing district 2 and 3, and then the type A and B sales tax. Moving on, we have Parks and Rec / Marina. The Marina projects, so those are the big projects that you have probably seen for a few years on the schedule. They're basically designed, so now it's construction for the boat holdout and office facility, the Cooper's boaters facility, People's Boardwalk rehab, which actually went to council this past Tuesday, and then the People's Seahead dredging as part of the dredging program at the marina. We have the Harbor Bridge mitigation projects. So these are the big park improvements around here in District 1 around the Harbor Bridge to include Ben Garza, Dr. A.J. Williams, the North Beach Trail, the T.C. Ayers Aquatic Center, the T.C. Ayers Park, and Washington Coles Park. We're also planning to finish out the Bond 2022 Prop B projects, which were the Greenmore Sport Complex project, the Commodore Park improvements, and the Labonte Park expansion as part of next year's plan for this program funding. We have many funding sources here. We have general obligation voter-approved bonds. We have sales tax proceeds from the Type A board funding. We have grant funding, certificates of obligation, the MPO, the SHOT fund, the general fund, and the park development fund. So there's a lot of different funding sources in this program to make up the $71.6 million. Moving on, we have public facilities. As I mentioned, these are all the other facilities. So the primary one, so we want to finish out Bond 2022 Prop D, which is La Huertana Central Library exterior renovations. We have City Hall improvements. Then we have the Development Services building upgrade, design funding for that building, and then the Public Health Department Service Center facility improvements, which is Public Health, which is the Public Health Department, the Service Center is the Civitan area, master plan development in that area. So funding sources, general obligation bonds, general fund, certificate of obligation, and then development services are paying for their building, so that they're using from their reserves. Moving on to the public health and safety. So this is your police, fire, and solid waste projects. So for police and fire, we have the design of the Northwest Police Substation, the design for the new fire station 8 and 10, construction of the new Far South Police Substation, and the Fire Resources Center Phase 2. For the solid waste, we have the solid waste facility complex, the new admin facility complex, road improvements at the landfills. So this one is funded by certificates of obligation for the solid waste projects, and then general obligation voter-approved funding for the fire and police projects. Moving on to streets. I think those are self-explanatory, $78.8 million, basically all of the bond projects. So we have few projects remaining from bond 2018. We're very well on our way with finishing bond 2020, and then construction of the bond 2022 arterial collector projects. We have residential street rebuild project and the SPMP, which is our combined kind of, when you listen to it, it's the rapid pavement program. They just separated. One is the residential side and one is the SPMP side to make improvements, and then median signalization improvements. So the primary funding, certificates of obligation, general obligation bonds, obviously, and then residential street tax levy. That's the property tax levy for residential street, and the sales tax proceeds from the B board funding. Moving on to gas, we have 26.9. So as every year, they have the various pipe replacement extension programs. So it's our IDIQ program. We have the cathodic protection upgrades throughout the system. The big project is the underground natural storage project, which went to council this past Tuesday, actually, for the initial design. So the idea is to store gas when prices are favorable, and then resell it when prices are, not as favorable, to protect our customers from what happened during the winter storm, when prices basically went by 1,000% up for a few days, and the costs, are huge. So we're trying to build a system where we can protect that, store gas when we can buy it for cheap, and then resell it back when the prices, there's instability in pricing. We have the gas department building parking upgrades, and then the street support. Gas provides for the utility support for the gas lines that are under the streets that are going to be rebuilt as part of the bond projects. The only funding source here is the utility revenue bonds. Moving on to stormwater, $52.1 million program. Primarily is their citywide stormwater infrastructure repair, the outflow rehabilitation, the repairs and the bridge repairs, the La Jolla Creek improvements, which is the big retention pond that is under construction actually right now. We signed the contract, so they're building the new retention pond for La Jolla. The North Beach drainage improvement project at North Beach, the second year of the funding for that one, and then the stormwater support for street project of $24.1 million. Primary funding, you have the American Rescue Plan Act, cash funding, which is the PAYGO, certificates of obligation, general fund, and the utility revenue bonds. Moving on to wastewater, $182.7 million. The primary expenditures there are to rehabilitate and make improvements to the 6 wastewater treatment plants. Actually, not all of them, because we already done 2. So Allison and Whitecap are done. They're substantially completed. We're started work on OSO, but the remaining 3 are scheduled to have improvements in the CAP. Of course, we have the citywide lift station repair program. We have 107 lift stations throughout the city, so we have to, continuously maintain and improve those. The citywide collection capacity remediation, office and admin facility improvements, and then $8.5 million for street improvements as associated with the general obligation bond. So the revenue sources here are the utility revenues bond, the American Rescue Plan Act, CDBG mitigation funding, and then cash funding of projects from the operating budget. And then finally, we get to the biggest program, which is water, $517.2 million. Of course, $221 million of that 517 is the first year of the seawater desalination project. So that already takes nearly 50% of that total next year's capital budget for that one project. We have extensive repairs, and we're going to continue to have for the next few years, and we had for the past few years, and we're going to continue having at the Owen Stevens water treatment plant to make improvements there, make sure that the one and only water treatment plant that we have in the city is, operational in good condition, and we can rely on it. Citywide water line rehabilitation and replacement, so there's the IDIQ to maintain and repair any lines that we need. The Mary Rose pipeline improvements and the cathodic protection. So this is part of the study that found that. So we're going to make pumping upgrades and other things to make sure the Mary Rose is getting us as much water down the line as possible. Wesley Seal Dam spillway gate rehabilitation. So this is a planned project to make improvements to the dam. And then finally, the $8.4 million for the street project rehab, street project support for the Bond Street rebuild. Funding sources, the American Rescue Plan Act, the State Water Implementation Fund for Texas, loan, the utility revenue bonds, there's some funding from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, cash funding, and then raw water fund funding for the Wesley Seal Dam projects. That basically gets me to the end. So I'm here for questions. The budget, you have copies. The budget is available. If anybody wants a hard copy to look at any of the city library branches or city secretary's office, it's also available online. And I'm open for any questions that you guys might have.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the presentation. Commissioners have any questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Lambert.
On the water source, the CIP, on the desalinization.
Yes, sir.
The city have all its permits in line already? Have they received all the permits?
We have our intake with the discharge permit. We have a preliminary permit, but we're waiting for the final one. And basically that's it. So yes, not all of the permits are physically, but we're confident that we're going to get all of the permits, and to delay because we have to start the design, because basically next year's it's the design of the facility.
So the monies that you're requesting is for the design, but you're requesting $221 million?
$221 million, yes.
For us to approve without having the complete permits yet?
Yes, the Texas Water Development Board approved for the city $761 million in loans to be used for that plant.
What happens if we don't receive the permit?
Then we don't spend the money and we give it back to them. We go of that thing. We're taking the risk of designing some of it right now, but again.
And what's the cost on the design at this point?
We're not there yet. So the final, the selection of the build, contract to build, because it's going to be design build contract, is going to happen in December. The final selection of the contract that we have right now, the three top candidates that are going to be vetted, and the final selection is going to happen in December, and the contract is going to sign. And by that time, we believe we're going to have all the permits in hand.
Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioners have questions?
I got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
The CIP funds dedicated for the ABC and C, or the SEA district area, is that contingent upon the type A sales tax reallocation, or is that money going to be in the CIP whether that passes or not?
That money is already in the CIP regardless of thing. Primary funding for that is HOT, and then the ARENA funding is part of the ARENA, currently approved ARENA fund, and that money is already collected and and available.
Okay, so you're not borrowing against anything?
No, sir. Okay. No.
And then maybe somebody from Development Services knows about the Development Services building upgrades. I remember there was plans done, and then Frost said that they were going to move out, or?
Correct. The last that I heard, Frost Bank is preparing to move. Their contract is ending in 2026, so there will be potentially a redesign to now incorporate, but that's an ongoing discussion.
Okay. And then, and you may not know all the answers, Camille.
Sure.
But explain a little further into detail what the underground gas storage facility is.
Yeah, what up? Cool. Neiman Young, Assistant City Manager, and I do manage the gas department. The underground storage project was developed as a result of Hurricane Uri. As everybody's fully aware, Texas experienced that ice storm. And because of that, we experienced approximately a 1,200% increase in gas prices. And it was unfortunate because many of our Corpus Christi citizens depended on gas as their sole energy source, throughout that storm. So the senior leadership of the gas department realized as a result of that storm that basically we had a weakness in our operations. That being that we didn't have a backup plan or any resiliency. We was dependent on one supplier who basically we had to pay whatever that supplier charges us. So we definitely don't want to find ourselves in that situation again. And so what the gas department leadership did was get forward thinking and decided, hey, the solution to this is to build an underground storage facility. The underground storage facility will allow for the gas department to purchase gas when the market prices are low. And in the event, in the future that gas prices surge, regardless of a natural disaster or, world events, whatever happens, we'll be able to tap into that reserve and continue our supply to the Corpus Christi citizens without having them face, the brunt of, those surges in the gas market. So that's the number one rationale for pursuing an underground storage facility, but it's also an opportunity for it to be built large enough to also accommodate gas storage for some of our industrial businesses within the city of Corpus Christi as well. So we'd be able to ensure that our citizens and our residential customers are protected, but also at the same time, we'd be offering an additional service to our industrial partners, and it's been received very favorably. In fact, we have a couple of private partners that are looking at partnering with the city to pay for a portion of the building of the storage facility, and we're currently working on hammering out an operating agreement.
And that facility it says on here that it has the capability of storing up to 40,000 million BTUs per day. I don't know how that aligns with what the daily, like how much storage is this historically for the citywide usage? I mean, does this buy us a week or does it buy us 3 days or?
No, and I can get those numbers, but it's months. I'd be comfortable with saying, we're looking at probably 6 to 8 months worth of usage that would be able to get into that facility. So it's not a 3-day solution, and we're looking at it for a long-term solution to get us through whatever event that we're facing, in the future.
And whenever gas prices, natural gas prices peaked during Ice Storm Uri, who took the hit on that? Did the city take the hit or did the citizens take the hit on their bill? Because I don't remember my bill spiking there. I remember the electric bill going
and that
crazy.
Was deliberate. So what happened was the gas department actually sold revenue bonds, and what was called a smoothing strategy was basically to pay that large bill, via revenue bonds, then spread out the payment of that surge over, I forgot the time period. I don't know if was it 3 years?
30.
Oh, 30 years. 30-year time frame, so you wouldn't have to cut such a large and hefty check trying to pay that price.
You don't remember what that check was?
Right around $50 million.
$50 million.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Okay, that's all I had. So we're going to pay $50 million as insurance that we don't have to pay another $50 million.
Yes, sir. That's basically the idea. So we never have to worry about ever issuing another $50 million for nothing. At least here we have a facility that we can use to, as Mr. Young said, we can partner.
I'm tracking, so just to reply to your comment about $50 million to pay for $50 million, the answer is yes, but that's a one-time $50 million to build this storage facility when we don't know how many surges and spikes we're going to experience over the lifespan of the underground facility, which would be 20 or 30 years. We could experience a $50 million surge 4, 5, 6, 7 times then. So we'd rather pay $50 million now where it's expected, it's planned, and we can deliberately address it versus having to continue to be in react mode over the next 30 years trying to figure out how we're going to pay for surges in the gas market.
No, I get it. I haven't seen, except for extremely isolated events like that ice storm, I haven't seen a whole lot of volatility in the gas market. It's just, if it's $5 an MCF of gas, that's a boom, in this area. And what I've seen is whenever it creeps up to that point, more, they drill more for gas or they produce more gas and sell more gas. I mean, there's a lot of people flaring gas because it's so cheap.
Yes, sir.
So just seems, like a pretty big expenditure for an insurance policy when you could probably have gas buyers hedge, you know, hedge bets.
And again, and that's one part of it. Again, the primary reason is for, you know, mitigating ourselves against surges in the market, but also, as I was mentioning, enough capacity to also accommodate our industrial businesses. Well, that is a revenue generator as well. So that will help to go pay for the facility and continue to, you know, pay for operations in the gas department.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Any other commissioners have questions? Go ahead.
Since this is a repeated proposal every year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the comparison of the proposal last year to this year, and what was proposed for last year, how much of that were you able to complete? How much was the city able to complete, or was some of that did not get completed through permits or through whatever crossover to this year?
Luckily enough, I do have that answer for you. So if you give me 1 second. Out of the 300 projects that we scheduled for last year, 229 are on schedule, 71 are delayed, so 76% are on schedule. And when it comes to the money, we're at 75% spent of the budget that was budgeted for 2024.
So 76% of that was completed up to
Yes.
to date right now for last year's proposal.
Yes, for fiscal year 24, 76% is projected to be completed. Yes, okay. Or on schedule. Some projects were in design. So the project, if the year that we budgeted was just designed for that year, we are in design. You know, we have a signed contract, we're in design, and the money in 25 might be for construction. So there's multiple projects like that continue because they're 5-6 year projects. But out of the projects in the schedule that was presented for 24, we're at 76% of those projects on track.
What was the total cost of it from last year comparison to this year?
Last year's budget was $703 million. Now we're at $1.008 billion. So the thing, and as I say, the desal drove up the budget significantly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
In the absence of desal, we're actually significantly less than last year's CIP budget.
No, we're right on track.
Right on track?
Right on track of what this year's was.
Yeah, because part of that came from the state funds.
Yeah, all of desal is coming from state funds, the state loan.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Well, we have possible action, so do we need a public hearing on this? Yes. Go ahead and open the public hearing for item number 7. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain further discussion or motion.
There is no motion on this one this week. We're coming back on the 21st of August, and that's when we're going to ask for your recommendation. So we come today for the presentation and to answer any questions you might have. Then you have 2 weeks to send us any questions additional that you have. You can send it to Development Service, who forward it. You can send it directly to me. You can send it to the Budget Department, and we'll answer those. And then we'll come back on the 21st for your actual recommendation of the CIP to City Council.
All right.
Is this something that's going to also be presented to these community outreach
yes, the CIP
is, that they have?
Yes, the CIP is part of it.
So each committee meeting that they have in the area, or when the public comes, they'll be able to listen to this and give
and ask questions about the specific project. Yes, absolutely. And anybody in the public can come and ask, and water department is there, all the other departments are there, and we'll ask and we'll answer any questions related to those projects.
Okay, that's good, because I think it's really important for the public to come in and really get a grasp of what it is that our proposed budget will be for this upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank
yes,
you.
ma'am.
Just some light reading. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the 21st.
And there happens to be a public input session happening that started 9 minutes ago at the Terrace restaurant that's in Doddridge and Alameda? Yeah. 3740. Chung May.
All right. Okay, moving on to Director's Report.
No report tonight. Thank you. Oh.
As we segue into budget, Mike Dice, Development Services. So you bring up the budget input sessions. I just want to make sure that they are actively going on. As you stated, tonight is D2 at the Terrace. Thursday, August 8th is D3. August 14th is D5. August 16th, D4 in Flower Bluff. August 19th is D4 on the island, and then August 21st is D1 in Calallen. So if you check the schedule on the website, those are all set. It's from 6 to 7. It's kind of a general, just ask questions, not a formal presentation, so you can mingle amongst yourselves, have a nice read of the capital improvement budget while you're there. But it is a good event to get out and have that input with the citizens. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, they have cards that you can submit. Those will be responded to through the different budget workshops, which is where I segue to the next thing. Development Services and Code Compliance. We actually have 2 budget presentations at council workshops. Our first one is tomorrow morning for Code Compliance. It starts at 9 a.m. And then we are back on the 22nd for Development Services Budget Council Workshop. That one also, let me bring, that one's also at 9 a.m. And we're also with Police and Fire that day, so it'll be lengthy. Other than that, you have any questions for any budget stuff?
Are both of those going to be broadcast on YouTube?
Yes. So again, budget is a fun time. These guys have been working extremely hard, lots of sleepless nights. So when council votes on budget, they're going to take a long vacation. So if you have any budget questions at that point, wait till next year. If you have any questions for me, definitely just shoot me an email. Best way to get a hold of me, and I can forward it either to them or if it's something I need to answer from the department level itself. We'll have more information as we get through the council workshops. If anything changes, those will be updated as well. And then final budget goes to council on September 3rd. And then approved on the 10th. There you go. Be engaged.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Does anybody have any future agenda items? Commissioner Lerma?
Chairman, if I may, I just want to say that it has been an honor and a pleasure serving on this committee with each one of you. I think we're going in the right direction. I'm proud of everybody, the way you handle the city business, on how the city should grow. Development Services has done a great job, you know, on providing information for us. I wish that you continue going in the right direction, working as a team, because that's the most important part on a committee like this. This is my last meeting to serve on the Planning Commission. I will be seeking the council seat District 1. So I won't be able to make the 21st meeting because I have to hand in my packet by the 19th. So like I said, it's been a pleasure. And I wish all the luck. Keep asking those hard questions. Make these guys earn their dollars. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Billy.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with you. Wish you well in the election season. Thank you. All right. Any other agenda items? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
It's free beer, right?